Hi everybody, today's topic is work appropriate makeup. Yay! I was really inspired in one of my recent videos. It was the makeup playtime where I was asking you what is it that you do for a living, and we just kind of got into this discussion. It felt like a discussion sort of, especially going back and reading the comments. Like, what is it that you do, and are you required to have certain makeup because of it? Like, does your office place, your workplace require some certain thing? And there were very varied answers. There are some of you who can get away with doing absolutely whatever you want, and you do. There were many of you who had jobs where you just can't get away with wearing much of anything, or the job is so rigorous, it's just makeup is not a factor at all, and you just kind of leave it for the weekends. And then I read so many comments, and I get these even just outside of that video, where you're telling me you work in a hospital, you work in an office place, you're a teacher, you're in a bank, you're a scientist. There were a lot of you in this category who told me, yes, I wear makeup every day, but it's got to be kind of like under a certain point. It's got to be very natural, very muted, non-distracting. And so that's what this look is all about. It's about, you know, just making you feel confident and good and feeling like you've got a nice put together look that can be a go-to for you. Something that doesn't take a long time. A look you're not going to feel like you've got to keep checking on and touching up throughout the day, because as many of you told me, that's just not an option at all. And I know this may not cater to everyone's specific work needs, but I just wanted to let you know that I really appreciated the comments that you guys left on that video, and it really got me thinking, how can I help those of you who sort of feel like you're in a bit of a box where makeup is concerned for your workplace and you can't really go too far with it, but you still want to have something on and look really nice and polished. A lot of you also said you're interested in an interview type makeup look. I've heard that for a while now in my comments sections. Or maybe you're the boss who's doing the interviewing. This is the look. I hope you enjoy it. Starting out, I'm going to use my IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better CC cream in the shade medium. Why did I choose this for this video? Well, I feel like it does have really good staying power. It packs in some extra moisture, I think. You can always use a light moisturizer underneath this, but I think the overall idea is that this is moisturizer and coverage in one. And it's got that great SPF in there, and it just covers really well. I don't feel like this gives me an over-the-top glowy luminous finish, but it doesn't make my skin look unnaturally matte either. So I can pretty much do one pump, maybe just a teeny bit more, and then I will just kind of dab this all around my skin. And then I'm just using my Real Techniques buffing brush to blend this out. Blender sponges work great. You could also just use your fingers if you want to. I just kind of like the evenness that I get with this product and a brush like this. So again, moisture concerns, coverage concerns, staying power concerns, it's all kind of wrapped up in one product there. And then I thought, what's a concealer that I can just sort of throw on that's going to cover basically everything without going in for multiple steps and multiple products? And I feel like one of the most one and done concealers that I have right now is this Almay Age Essentials concealer. It's got SPF 20 in it. I do wear this in the shade light medium. So this is just a really creamy stick concealer, and I'm going to use this to not only tackle my under eye area, but I'm going to go around my nose where I might see a little bit of redness here and there. And so just swipe it on wherever you need it. It can work all right on blemishes too. And then I just grab my Sigma P84 brush to blend this out. Beauty Blender Micro Mini can work well too. I find that I can sometimes maintain just a little more coverage with this particular concealer when I blend it in with a brush. And it never really looks like cakey or thick anyway. I'm trying to take this tutorial a little bit quicker than some of my, chat about everything type looks lately, because I'm trying to be time conscious here. I know some of y'all don't have a lot of time as you sit and watch, but don't worry, I'm not abandoning the makeup playtimes. This is just, a little more down to business. Hence the work look. Okay, so look at that. I feel like really even skin is happening right now. And then I am going to set my under eye. And for those of you who aren't super oily, this may be like the only powder step that you really want to think about. But I got some of these Besame, I think that's how you say it, Besame. This is the brightening violet powder. They all say translucent, but there's like a little bit different tones available, and I got this little 3-pack. My first time experimenting with this brand. They're available on Sephora, and so it is like a light lilac powder. And the other day I was just playing around and I used a little bit of this on my under eyes, and I thought, wow, that really is really nice and brightening. So I'm just picking up a little bit of what I tapped into the cap with my e.l.f. small tapered brush, and I'm going to dab this on the under eye. Overall, it's a pretty light amount of product. I'm not like baking the area right now. I'm just sort of taking away any tackiness that concealer stick left behind, which it's not a lot. But I just find this lilac powder to be like extra brightening. I really, really enjoy that. So that's really all the powder I'm going to be using on my skin today as far as just like a setting powder. But if you do produce a little more oil and that's a concern staying power wise for you, the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless is kind of a nice powder to use as you're first doing your makeup, because I think it does help as the day goes on. It helps keep your skin from getting overly oily. If you need a shade reference, I have this in Natural Beige, and that does work for me. But just throwing that out there to those of you who have a long work day, very little chance to even maybe glance at yourself in a mirror, let alone take the time to touch up. If you're oily, even though you think your skin may not need a lot of powder right now, it might be a good time to go ahead and put that on. Next up, we're going to use a little multitasking palette to do some bronzer blush highlight. It's going to be very light, and you can feel free to skip the bronzer step. Some people like to bronze more than others, and I totally get that. But this is the Laura Geller Baked Color and Contour Compact. And I know I've talked a lot about the IT Cosmetics Compact as well recently. Part of me just wanted to reach for something different because I've used that a lot lately. I'm talking about that Je ne sais quoi compact that has the 4 powders in one. But another reason why I chose this specifically is that the highlight in here is very, very subtle. It's the Baked French Vanilla highlight that seems to add a little coverage. It's very good if you have any kind of like texture problems up in here and you're not wanting to exaggerate that with a shiny powder. And it's just not a distracting look whatsoever. It's a very pretty, soft, natural look on the skin, and that is what we're going for here. So I'm taking my e.l.f. complexion brush and I'm going to dab into my Bronze and Brighten side of this palette. And I'm just going to start using that a little bit around my hairline here. I'm using it very lightly. I always, you know, maybe when I use bronzer sometimes in videos you don't even really feel like you see a lot of product going on, and that's fine because I don't see a lot in person either. I'm just kind of keeping it light, just giving the skin a little extra boost. And then you can use this lightly just under the cheekbone. It's like shortcut contouring is kind of what I'm doing. I'm not really thinking that much about it. Doesn't need to be a big process. And then I like to always take it down the neck. If you really want to keep it very quick and natural, you can just add a little extra Bronze and Brighten on the apple of your cheek, and it makes a surprisingly pretty blush as well. So just a more neutral, like little bit bronzy blush. But I am going to use the blush that's in this compact. It has a little glow to it, not too much though. Doesn't take a lot of product either. This is pretty pigmented. So I'm just going to swirl this on the outer part of the apple of my cheeks. Those of you who are waking up early, starting your work day, I mean, there's nothing like a little bit of blush on the cheeks to just wake the whole face up. Okay, then we're just going back to the small tapered brush, and here's my French Vanilla highlight. As I've said many times that I've talked about this is not an over-the-top, glowy, shiny highlight. It's more of a brightening type of powder that I think just takes a whole like zone of your skin and lifts it up. And you can use it other places besides just the tops of your cheekbones. You can go down the nose with it, hit the center of the forehead, you know, Cupid's bow even. It'll definitely do the brightening. It's just going to do it with less shine. And then Hear that? Those are my last remaining drops of Hard Candy Sheer Envy Hydrating Primer Mist. I thought we'd say goodbye to this product together. I love this stuff, and I am going to repurchase it. But I'm just going to do a few mists of this because I think it does make a difference, locking in the makeup, giving it an even more natural look on the skin. So, boom. Love the way it feels. Yeah, there's not much left in there. And then as far as brows go, I'm thinking, what's one tool that I can easily grab for and get the look quickly? And lately it's been this Makeup Forever Pro Sculpting Brow in the shade number 40 for me. That's just been a really easy product to use, and I like it because it's a hair like lighter than my brows, I think, but it's just very cool, so it doesn't make them look too reddish or warm brown. And I believe I've mentioned this before, but the shape of the brow product itself, see how it's a little bit thicker? And I think that helps me just lay it on a little bit faster compared to some of the really fine tip pencils out there. There's also a spoolie on the end that you can use, and there's a little like under the brow highlight powder that you can throw on as well, which is very quick and easy right there. And then not everybody may require this step, but I do like to hit the brow with a little bit of a clear gel. This is just one from Wet n Wild. Next, I'm going to prime the eyelids real quick. Milani eyeshadow primer. This might to some seem like a fussy step, like, okay, why are you taking the time to put some invisible priming product on the lids? But eye primer, I tell you, if you're going to use any type of powder shadow on top of those lids, you want something to help it stick and help it last, and just help the intensity of whatever shadow you're putting on top. And there are certainly several routes we can take as far as everyday eye makeup. You know, you could take a shadow stick that's very simple and easy and just swipe it on, kind of blend it out, and boom, there's like quickest look ever. What I thought I would go ahead and show in this video is a matte palette that I really like. It's the Too Faced Natural Matte. I don't know how many of you guys have this, but I've raved about it quite a bit. I think this formula is 100% awesome, and it kind of makes me think of a condensed version of that new Urban Decay Naked Ultimate Basics 100% matte palette, only I think I like this formula a little bit better. But I totally get that there are days that you're not going to mess with multiple shadow colors, and that's fine, but then some of you may also be watching this from the thought of, maybe I just want a nice professional look to wear to an interview, or I am going to, you know, take that little extra time just to put something together on the eyes. So here's a very easy look with this palette, and there's a lot of easy looks potentially, you know, available here. But I'm going to go into this shade called Cashmere Bunny right up top, and this is just kind of a matte, very cool brown, like a grayish brown, and I'm just applying that to the crease with a Sigma E25 brush. Next step is going to simultaneously highlight under the brow and kind of blend the edge of what we just did. So I'm going to use this color called Heaven, light creamy color. And the little tap taps you hear are just me tapping off excess off of my brush because it's easy to pick up maybe a little more than you need. Then we want to brighten. We want to make the eye look even more wide awake than it already is. So I'm going to go back into Heaven, this time though with a flat brush. You could also use any random sponge tip that's sitting around for this step, but I'm just dabbing it on my inner corner, going all around that inner corner and on the lid. And the final thing I'm going to do is use this shade here, which is my dark, very cool brown called Sexpresso. It's an extremely basic color, and I'm just dabbing that on the outer part of my lid. And what I think that does is provides a little bit of a finished look to what's happening on the eye. And if you do kind of take this brush and flip it over and pull it into your crease just a little bit, I think it can give you a little added lift. But the cool thing about this palette, I feel like I just now reached for, in that top row, just the most neutral, natural, very, very easy colors, but then you can take it a more rosy route, or you can go more warm on the bottom, because you've got like a warm brown and like this almost yellowy brown. It's kind of interesting. Another palette that can be great for everyday work looks would be the Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye Palette. This one I think just doesn't go quite as dark as that palette does overall, so it stays in a little more natural place. One other thing I'm going to do is a little trick for eyeliner on the lower lash line that doesn't look like eyeliner. I'm going to go into a little bit of Cashmere Bunny here with a smudge brush and just apply that ever so softly right here. You're going to define the eye, give the eye a little bit of an outer border without it looking like thick lines. Like, I don't think anybody be able to point to it and be like, oh, she's really rimmed the eyes today. Soft, easy. And then ultimate thing for a makeup step that makes an impact but doesn't look makeup-y at all is taking a nude liner such as the Rimmel Scandaleyes in Nude and apply that right here to the waterline. Instantly more awake. Instantly whiter looking eyes. Not as stark as a white liner, although you could use white if you wanted to. And for eyeliner, I was really debating on whether to pull in liquid, whether to do pencil. Some people find one easier and more natural to use than the other. So I thought I'd go kind of in between with a liquid pen. One that I really like from the drugstore that I think wears a long time, and it's just so simple, and it's got a brush tip instead of a felt tip. So this is a Physicians Formula Eye Booster pen, and I'm just going to take a thin line of this. I'm not winging it out at all. I'm just kind of stopping where the end of my eye stops. I'm going to curl my lashes. And a really good go-to mascara for me is my CoverGirl Supersizer. So I'm going to apply this to my upper lashes and my lower lashes because I've realized it really performs pretty well on my lower lashes too without getting smudgy or anything. We're going to finish this look off with lips, and I think lips are just the single thing that you can do to really make yourself look polished. But it's a very easy step, and a light step can take just as much work as a slightly deeper step. So here's something I would like to challenge you guys to do. I've heard from so many of you who say, you know, I just wear lip balm or a barely there, like barely visible type of lip color to work. And I think if you just deepen that shade up just a little bit, and I think I got the perfect color to do that for you, your whole face is going to look more finished, defined, somehow brightened by this, and plus it's just very appropriate to the season as well. And I don't think it's going to make you look unprofessional. In fact, I think it's going to make you look more professional. e.l.f. has a line of lipsticks called Satin Lipstick. I've had a few for a while but haven't really dug in to experiment too much until recently. They feel really nice on the lips, and this one, it's called Touch of Blush. Just let me put this shade on real quick. It's not over the top, shiny, glossy. It's not completely matte either. It has a really nice feel, smells great, and I think this can be like your ideal color. This can be something that takes your whole look, and whether you went super minimal on the eyes or whatever else you did, this will do something for your face. And now, you know, take the hair down, throw in a pair of earrings, and I think we're done with a very finished, very work-appropriate look. But not only is the look, I think, appropriate for a conservative workplace, but it also is something that's going to last well for you, and I don't think you're going to be constantly feeling the need to touch something up, be it on the eyes or elsewhere on the face. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for inspiring me to do this look through all of the things that you've shared with me about what you do for a living and what your workplace kind of requires of you in terms of appearance. I truly found that fascinating, and I love learning more about you and just what your day-to-day beauty routine is like. So hopefully you can take, if not the whole look, just bits and pieces of this and make it work for you. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.